It is one of those rare moments when you meet an individual who has been striking really well in his life, climbing the corporate ladder, chasing the dream, and suddenly something hits and he stops and takes a look and changes perspective of not only his life but the lives of many people around him. It's truly a pleasure to welcome an author, a successful corporate executive, and a doting father, Mr. Arjun Sen. Arjun, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, a little bit of what you said about yourself before I actually started this interview actually is changing my perspective on life. It's very interesting that you were not only the only Indian but the only individual to head both the marketing and the operations of a big chain like Papa John's.
That's right.
And in your busy life, as you were chasing your American dream, or the dream of life I should say, one fine day something happened and you stopped and looked back at life and took a perspective.
Absolutely.
So,
visualize, I came to this country on August 15th, 1986 with $320. From there, life accelerated to a point where this is September 12th, day after 9/11, our world has stopped. I spent maybe 18 hours a day working 7 days a week. When my daughter and myself, we had one of those quiet moments, she looked at me and said, "Dad, you don't know me." And instead of feeling what it feels when somebody tells you you don't know me, I tried to justify and defend. To make a long story short, she asked me specific questions which I couldn't answer. I tried to lie my way out, and my 8-year-old daughter poked me on my chest and said, "Dad, don't lie to me." And I just realized, where am I going? I saw that I'll be a 65-year-old man who will be amazingly successful, who will get 2 phone calls from his daughter in a given year with hardly any conversations. And that was not acceptable to me. So I decided that I'm a father first, and I will be a father first. And that's the place where the journey started.
before I continue this, I want to get some perspective on your career to understand where you're coming from. Because we are all, fathers. We are not. One day we hope to be fathers. And so it's important to understand while we're chasing our careers how to balance life. So let's talk a little bit about your role at Papa John's.
After coming from IIT Kharagpur and then an MBA, I was rising in the corporate world. At Papa John's, when I joined, I realized that marketing and operations don't work together. Like a marketing person wants a pizza delivery person to smile, and the operator wants efficiency, which means the ideal driver would be like a newspaper person who can just throw the pizzas at you. So how do you unify that? That became the big vision, and over time we developed a concept called Marporations, which we blend, putting the customer first. I also helped Papa John's increase their sales 170% when we went after Pizza Hut in one of those amazing famous lawsuits. Since then, I have helped 6 brands, the smaller brands, to go after the big guys. So most recently, I helped a brand in California, El Pollo Loco, to go after KFC. So what we realized in this amazing case is KFC has launched a grilled chicken. And in their KFC's website, they talk about they have some beef rub that they use. I felt for a predominantly Hindu community which has adopted the product, we all need to know when we are having chicken and not chicken plus, little bit of beef in it. So these have been some of these campaigns. I have helped different brands since then. And in most cases, sales just go through the roof of 150 to 170%.
Coming back to what you said about your daughter, I'm sure in your corporate life you were trying to progress, and maybe someday you would hope to become the CEO of not Papa John's but some other chain. What really struck you is that your daughter stopped you and asked you some questions because you're not spending enough time with them. It was the bonding that was missing, right?
I think it was a bonding that was missing, but more importantly was what I call in the book is wake-up calls. Wake-up call is a change of state. This morning, when each one of us got a wake-up call, we decided either to snooze or change. For me, it was one of those wake-up calls which was full of shame. And I realized that when my daughter was born, I had signed a contract that for 18 years, I will be there for you no matter what. That contract didn't have any fine prints. That when daddy works, you will be with a nanny. So to me, that was this major realization. I also realized for only reason I'm here talking to you is my grandma in India. I called her Maiji. Maiji woke me up for 12 years every day at 4:30 a.m. There was food, and if for any reason I fell asleep, she would just hold the back of my head and just bang it. It was brutal force. But I just feel that that is the kind of commitment which we call parampara, that we came from. And all of a sudden, after coming to this country in this process of this dream, we are giving up on our children. We had to be there. And that absolutely was not acceptable. I was very ashamed of myself.
What made you write the book?
The reason I smile is, I have to confess, I'm a corporate addict. Even today, I'm dying to get back to the corporate world and play there. As I walked away from the corporate world, the offer started getting better and better. People felt I'm holding back for a big thing. I realized that the only way is if I write this book, and this was a Christmas gift for my daughter in 2007, it becomes my commitment, which forces me every day to stay in this role. Okay. Fatherhood doesn't come naturally to me. So that's the reason I needed a coach. And I can't get a better coach than my little daughter, who is just turned 16 right now. And this is personally a commitment to myself.
You were also mentioning that before she graduates from high school, you have exactly 91 weeks.
Yes. You know, this started with, before every final, I bake a cookie for her. In February this year, when I was trying to bake a cookie, I realized after this cookie, I will bake only 5 more cookies for her. Okay. And I didn't, I'm like, wow, what? Only 5? I trashed that cookie right away, realizing that if I could make only 5 things for you, let's say, and you were my brother or somebody very special to me, those have to be amazing cookies. So the next cookie had a different layer, 2 layers with strawberry and everything else. Cookie number 4, which will be coming in October, will be even more special. The same way I realized that I have 91 weekends left. And once you put a number like that, we have measures in every aspect of our life, it forces you to act. To me, it's not acceptable to while away or waste any of these times and later on regret.
But for those of us who are listening and trying to relate to our own lives, when you stop a very accomplished career like the one you had, how do you then balance life?
I think you nailed the answer yourself when you talked about balance. I think what or in my case, I had got into was not balance, choice. I had chosen my life, my career, and I was not trying to balance. Right now, I have a consulting company. It's not that I have given up and sitting at home. We work from home, but the big thing I realized is if you temper and balance both, you can be a father, you can be a great professional. I've also realized there are moments you have to choose. And if you have to choose, you have to choose the job on which you have an 18-year contract from which I will never ever get fired. Any other job, I can get fired. But as a dad, that's a contract. I have to choose that if I have to. Another thing I would add is, when I talk to a lot of my friends here and at IIT, when I talk to them, they feel many a time they've gone too far. The thing I remind every friend of mine is, our children never give up. Every child has this fantasy that dad and mom will always be there. So even if in the past we have not been there, it's never too late. Start now, be present, spend time, because that's the only thing our children want.
Mr. Sen, it's truly a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.